And I can go back. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Joyce Zook, and I have two of my great friends here today. We have Linda Goldfarb and Linda Gilden, and we are talking about personalities and how does that help you be successful. These two gals are award-winning authors, and one of the coolest things we just found out today, and Linda, Coach Linda up there, if you see on your screen, she's going to hold up the book, but they are on the Amazon bestseller list with their marriage linked for couples. See, they both have it right there. Isn't that awesome? And it's been there, I think she said 11 days. And so it's an awesome, awesome book. Yes, in this group, we have been doing um, um, things about marriage all last year, but this is kind of that combination between, and we're going to talk about why it is. So these two gals, the purpose of writing these books is that they have a passion for helping individuals build and grow relationships by knowing their personalities. And that's why personalities can give you success. So I've known both the Lindas for quite a while. And so I am going to call Linda Goldfarb Goldie. And you can, she has slightly golden hair, but she's in the green today when you're looking at the screen. And I'm going to call the other gal, the other Linda, Rose, and she's in the blue. And I'm in red. So we're kind of great colors here together. So we thank you guys for both being here. I am so excited to have you joining us. And as I was telling them, this is the first time I've done one of these live, and so with various people, and so they are awesome guests to have. So I want to ask you guys a couple questions this today, and I'm going to start off with you, Rose. Why? How did you find out your personality, and why is it good for you to know? I mean, because your personalities are different, and I know that. But tell us a little about how you found out and how it helps you.
Well, it was a little bit of an odd situation in that I had gone to a speaker training conference. And this was way back in the, as my children would say, in the 1900s. And I went to this conference because I had my first book and I wanted to learn how to speak. And so we had covered about 2 days of the 3-day conference, and they said, "All right, go eat lunch, and then we're going to have a section on the personalities." And of course, I'm like, "What does personalities have to do with speaking and writing?" Well, okay, I know the answer now is a lot and just about everything. But back then, I was like, this is just going to be, I can just check out and take a nap sort of thing, because I came to hear about speaking and writing. And they started talking about personalities, and I was just hooked immediately because I was like, those are my children. Those are me. That's why we can't really get along in some situations because I don't react the way I should toward my children. And I mean, in that situation, I was the adult, so it was up to me. It was not up to my child to figure this out.
Mhm.
And so that it was really only about 15 minutes, but it was life changing. And so that really just sparked my hunger for learning more about myself, learning more about my children and my husband, and really learning how this could make me a better parent, a better writer, a better friend, a better everything if I just understood myself and those around me.
Mhm. Well, um, this is the Linked Personalities book. This is the original one that I've got, and they've written a whole series about the educator, parents, and the couples now. They're Goldie's got all three of them. But the big key thing is that they break this down into four very simple, easy to use personality terms. And when I read these, it went, oh, I know what that is. I know what that one is. I've been in a personality classes with them and taken some others where we were talking about a lot of, I don't know whether Latin words or whatever words they were, but I didn't know what a sanguine was or a choleric or was I, whatever else I was and was not. And it just didn't make sense. But when I read what they came up with, it's easy to understand. Let me tell you the four. We have the mobilizer, the socializer, an organizer, and a stabilizer. Now, I think you can probably understand those words. If you watch the Facebook page this month, you'll see we're going to talk about each of those four groups. Um, so Rose, what did you find out you were in personality?
That was really kind of difficult because I kept taking the test, and the people who were there, the faculty, they would look at my assessment and they go, "You're not that." And I would think, but I answered the questions. They made me do it 3 times, and every time it came out to where I was a really strong organizer with almost nothing else in there. And because I had been acting in the group, the to go along with the group dynamic, I was exhibiting some characteristics of socializers and personalities that I wasn't, because I learned that I was just extremely introverted, which I knew that pretty much, that I was a deep thinker, that I was analytical, that I really liked to figure things out. I like to go for details. I mean, give me an article to write and I can write you sometimes almost a book, just out of my desire to go deeper with these subjects. And so as I took that assessment, their assessment was very different from ours. As you said, our system is uses easier words, a little more basic foundational words that everybody can understand. And so we have also created an assessment that's easier for people to use and to understand. So once I could take that, I mean, it was a piece of cake. I knew exactly who I was. But back when I took that first assessment, um, it took me a little bit of time to figure out just how all those things fit and exactly what did it even mean to be an organizer. At the time, they used the different words, and some of those words, as you say, who knows what language they are, whether they're Latin or what, but they're difficult to say. They don't even roll off your tongue very easily. You have to kind of practice saying them. And I don't have any problem saying organizer, and so that should be a good sign to begin with. So I learned that at that particular time, but I also had to work at figuring it out from, and that was the point where my personality, interest, and passion was born.
Okay, let me get back to that part and a little bit about how that
Okay.
actually created your success. Because Goldie, I want to find out, how did you hear about personalities and how did you figure out what yours is? I mean, I know you, Ralph, so I go, oh, definitely. Um, but but um, but how did you find out and figure it out for yourself?
Well, it really wasn't a figuring out for myself. I'll put that out there because I kind of went um, really fighting it tooth and nail. I was invited to attend a speaker or writers conference that was being held at my church, and it was with the class seminars, Christian leaders, author, speakers seminars, and Florence Littauer was speaking. I had no idea who Florence Littauer was. I had been speaking for many years. I had a talk radio show, and I really didn't know why. One of my best friends was like, "No, you need to come because it's on speaking and personalities." And I was like, "Well, I already speak. Why do I need to go?" And I did not have a book at that time, but I was had a radio show, so I interviewed people all the time. And I went and sat in the back of the room just so I could sneak out if I was like, yeah, this isn't my cup of tea. And I started hearing about the personalities, and there were people in the group that you could see that their quote personalities were very similar, especially those that were very high energy, and they kind of laughed and giggled and all of this. And at first I was kind of put off with it. I mean, I really was, because I was like, I don't want someone to label me. What are they thinking? Well, as I moved to the future and to today, a lot of it is because I was a mobilizer personality. No one was going to tell me what to do. I would make my own choices. I'm going to do my own thing. And that's, we find that this is a personality that's very challenged to, if we go to our faith life, this is a personality that it might be difficult for them to accept the Lord because they're going to fight it. They don't want to be under someone's control. They want to have control. And so I through the process, I attended this. I was intrigued by it and by those in charge. I thought that they were wonderful individuals. And then the next opportunity I had was to go to a writers conference in outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, in Glorieta. and went there and found out more about the team and found out more about Florence and so many of the wonderful people that are part of class. And I entered into that realm of understanding personality more. And the more that I learned about myself, I was like, this is a huge door that is closed to a lot of people. And once it's open, there's things that you start understanding that you never thought of before. And so for me, that was getting to know myself more. And as I said, with our system, with the link system, I'm a mobilizer, but I have some socializer, and I do have some organizer as well. But my dominant is the mobilizer, get her done personality, and bullet point person.
Mhm. So did it take you some time to accept it like it did Rose? Or did you just go, yeah, that's me. I got it. Right on.
No, I fought it at first because I didn't like the emphasis was a little bit different. I was really paying attention to what was being said about the personalities that made them stand out. And a lot of it seemed very negative to me. And so that's what I latched into was that
Mm-hmm.
bossy, this. And I was like, who wants to be that? That's not fun. And someone had mentioned to me, oh, well, you're a sanguine. And I saw a lot of sanguines that were in their extreme. And I was like, why would I want to be that?
That's a socializer for all you
That's
that
a
don't know.
socializer, right?
Sanguine
That's
is how what we're now calling the socializer.
Thank you. And that's a socializer. And so I realized once I started digging a little bit deeper, and as being part of the staff and everything else, I really had to learn more about it. And once I learned more about it, I was like, okay, I can see that. I can see how I would be part of that. And that's really kind of what led Rose and I to creating this system. But we wanted it to be a little less complicated. And so that's why we created the linked quick guides for busy people with the 26 question assessment. And I like that they're thin. I think people want thin. Thin is in for here. And I think that makes it a little bit more palatable and usable for like my coaching clients, and Rose has them as well. So
well, thank you. I too found out, I thought my personality, it was like you, Rose, when I was at one of those conferences, they were very positive that I had to be a socializer, to the point I was actually crying. They were pushing it so much because I knew I was not. I knew that I had learned how to act in a group. I've learned how to speak. I'm not afraid of groups of people because of all the training I've had through the years as a military wife, going to functions. But when I didn't really know what I was, I kept taking it over and over again, and it never seemed to come out the same way on their test. But when I took your test, I was sitting out on my front porch. I remember this, and I started crying again, because from a happy cry this time. I was a stabilizer organizer. And the stabilizer is the person that likes it peace and quiet. They don't like arguments. They like to just have things go on. And the organizer likes to have it. I like to have things planned out so it can just go in a nice steady flow. So the combination go together. But I realized that as my stabilizer organizer, I had always been told that was wrong. And so it was bad to be that person. It was bad to be that. And because I wasn't outgoing and I didn't do this and I didn't go take, anyway, all kinds of things I didn't. So I realized I had learned how to do those things in those situations. And so now I have to say, actually, as a grandma, I'm now learning how to live within my stabilizer organizer personality. And Aaron and I were just talking, my husband and I were just talking about it yesterday on the drive home from a book sale, that how that worked in with what we were doing, and how to even make it work there. So when I was Googling personalities and marriage or personalities and success, I found out that this question, how do personalities help you cause success or help you figure out how to be successful, got over 1 million hits on Google. So that was so key, that was the big question. That's why I decided to ask you, and we'll start here with Rose. How, in your mind, has knowing your personality helped you find success, whether it's in your business or in your marriage or in your family or whatever you think is really the key point for you, of how does it help you find success? Because that's what people want to know.
For me, the greatest discovery during that original time period was that my personality, the organizer, is also a perfectionist. I had never looked at myself as a perfectionist, or at least not labeled myself that way. I knew that I wanted things right. And of course, that's your organizer, let's get it done right. Our mantra would be, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So I knew I wanted things right. And but for some reason, the way that they communicated that in that very first little short amount of time for me, it just hit home. And I was like, I'm doing that to everybody. I was imposing my perfectionist tendencies on my family, my husband, my children, my friends. I expected everybody to be pregnant if they are pregnant. Oh my goodness.
That'd be funny. Okay.
Perfect. Whew,
Perfectly pregnant.
perfection maybe. But I expected everybody to be perfect. And once I learned that and I could let that go, my children were so much better. My husband did everything I thought that he should be doing. And it wasn't him or them that changed. It was me, because I was no longer, just imposing that upon them. And that made a huge difference. And once I considered how that was affecting my writing, I mean, I would finish an article, and back then you had to mail things in. I would go over it and over it and over it, and I'd put the stamp on it and I'd seal it and I'd head to the mailbox. And then I'd think, no, let me go in one more time and just make sure there's nothing that I miss. That was taking me a lot of extra time. I could have been writing another article. And so within reason now, I try to let it go. And once I have done my very best, I don't reopen the envelope anymore and go over it one more time. So I think that one of the greatest things that knowing my personality has done for me is in terms of success is to encourage me and allow me to let other people be who God created them to be. And that's not for me to say who they're supposed to be. I can't impose that on them. God made them unique. He made them special, just like he did each one of us. And we can really support each other and encourage each other and really help each other along that path if we allow if we allow them to be who God created them to be, and help them when we can and support them. So the perfectionist thing was pretty huge for me as far as what I learned that very first day, because it was not something, it was just what I'd always done. I mean, it wasn't some kind of big aha in terms of that I wanted things right, but it was an aha in that I was imposing that on everybody, and it was making us all miserable in my house. So that was very enlightening.
Yes, it can be. It can be, to finally figure out, and I bet you got rid of a lot of stress with that too in your household.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm. And that's one of the things I really love about personalities. And when you get the book, and I'm going to link to this one, and we're also going to have the marriage link in there. I'll make sure to get up on the page today in our group, so you can find them really easy. But this is a great way to find out what it is that was causing this tension in Rose's family, is once she learned her personality. And that is a key point to the success, not only of herself and her career is in writing or speaking, but also in the success of her family. And I know within her multiple grandchildren she has now. So let me ask you the same question, Goldie. How has knowing your personality caused success or made you feel successful in your life? I don't know how exactly you would state that, but I'm thinking how Mobilizer would state it. But but
How to get it done right, and get it done quick.
Yeah. Don't tell me quite that fast. Expound just a little bit on it, okay?
Well, I think one of the things that I found success in quickly was in how I was actually receiving Sam, my husband Sam, receiving his personality. And I wasn't the perfectionist, so I'm the mobilizer, which, think of it, it's mobility, moving, doing, achieving, accomplishing. My husband is stabilizer, internal processor, moves a little slower, a lot slower. I mean, that, oh, sorry, that was my inside head speaking there. But Sam takes naps. I would look at naps as a waste of time. Why in the world are you doing that? There is so much that needs to be done. There's so much that needs to be accomplished. See, I was, without being aware of the personalities, I had boxes that I needed to check off. And if those boxes weren't checked off and it was 1 a.m, I was staying up until 2 a.m. until the boxes got checked off. And if there was things to be done and it was time to go to bed, Sam, just get up and go to bed. So I really was frustrated. I mean, to the point of I started labeling him as lazy, as not ambitious. I mean, there was all these things in my head that I was putting on him. I really started placing that coat of unrighteous colors on my husband. And so I treated him differently. I lost respect, all of these issues. See, and this is stressors in the home, all of these things that I was just like, what is wrong with this person? When I started identifying his personality, the light came on and I was going, whoa, whoa. Even to the point of, in marriage, we're told that the man is to be the head of the home. He is to be the kind of like our covering. And I didn't see that happening. And a lot of that, Joyce, is because I wasn't giving him the option to lead. I was leading because he wasn't moving fast enough. He wasn't doing quick enough. He wasn't doing enough. Success came when I had to intentionally recognize my husband for how God designed him to be. And when I did that, I started praising him for little things. I said, wow, I love it when you do that. I think one time he prayed over the meal and I went, oh, afterwards I went, you know, I love it when you pray over the meals. He started praying over the meals more. Everything that I started realizing I needed to encourage him in, he assumed the posture. He just started doing it. But for me, it took me recognizing myself, stepping away, and really seeing how by design God created both of us differently to work together successfully.
Yes, that understanding the personalities, and how it works in our marriages, and how it works in our personal life. Because again, I just see your own stress, your own frustration, maybe even some anger or bitterness against that he wouldn't do those things like you expected, would just start piling up. And I'm a coach, a life and marriage coach, and I talk to a lot of women that run into this issue. They're frustrated with their marriage partner because he doesn't do whatever it is they think he should be doing. And it's almost always because their personalities are two different ones. That's what happened in our marriage. My husband is definitely a mobilizer. I think as time gone on, he's become a mobilizer organizer. But he loves social things too. So I don't know where to really fit him in, but he's got little both those sides. But I am the stabilizer organizer. And sometimes, some days I'm more organizer than stabilizer. I get tired and I'm more stabilizer than organizer. But I grew up, as I said, that was not okay. And so the biggest thing for me right now to finding success is that my personality is okay. And so even at a book sale we were at yesterday, the last 2 days, um, where my husband stayed there the whole time, and he greets everybody as they come up. Hi, how you doing today? You like books? We're a table of two authors. Do you read? And he's talking to people all day long, 2 days worth, just greeting every person that comes out the door. And he got me a high chair, and I sit there, and I have my needlework in my hand. And when he's not at the table, because he has to, go get a snack or something, I just smile at people, and I talk to them if they come up to the table. If not, I give them what I call my Jesus smile. And they're just like, I'm just smiling at you, and I'm praying that you're having a great day. Or then towards the end of the day, I saw people start shuffling, and I go, oh Lord, help them, they're getting really tired. So I'm praying as I'm watching them. But the other thing I had to do is I had to actually leave this book sale usually at least twice, if not 3 times in a day, and go out to the car where it was absolutely quiet, and I could just close my eyes, and I could just but that was all within my personality. And then as I got tireder, even as we got to the end of the book sale, I put all my stuff away, and my husband has a whole lot more books than I do, but I put all of my things away, and he said, you can go out to the car now, hon, and rest, and I'll be out when I'm done. And I go, it's like, I'm a teary person. Okay. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And I went out to the car, and I just said, oh. So when he came back out and he was all done, I could be happy that we were going to go out to dinner and celebrate. And but that is learning that those are things are okay. In my family I grew up in, and even I grew up so much with it that I told myself forever that it was not okay to have to take naps. It was not okay to leave the table. It was not okay to greet people. And so that's probably the biggest thing for me for right now, is where I'm creating that success, is that Joyce is okay. And that's where I am. So, well,
and I'm going to say this real quick, because I noticed it right off the bat, and maybe your audience did as well, ladies. When you started talking about that, Erin said, go out and rest. Rose's face lit up, because she's like, yes, that's what we do.
I get it.
And it really is. And so, both you and Erin are very, I'm going to say, proficient in the personalities, and to be able to speak to one another via your personality by design, that is just such a powerful, just a powerful way to live as a couple. And it really does give us that peace, and that, because as a mobilizer, I love to have peace. Part of that is Sam actually says, well, I'll walk with you down to the front, and, where he'd rather sometimes nap, but we'll go together now. So we're really helping each other and doing more with each other as well. So I just love seeing that in Rose's face, that acknowledgement of, yes, that's good.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was talking so much I didn't even look to see what your responses were. Well, this has been so much fun. I want to just wrap this up a little bit by saying both Linda Goldfarb, Goldie, and Linda Gilden are both very proficient at being coaches and personality consulting, helping you with that. Excellent if you need them as a speaker, excellent if you just want to talk to them personally. And that's something I love to do too. And so if this is, rung a bell with you today, be sure and contact one of us and let us know, or at least give us a comment in the comment section that you really liked it. And I will give you the links to the books. And is there any last words y'all want to say before we close this up today?
Rose?
I was being quiet because I knew you were going to talk.
And I invited her in because I knew that she wouldn't.
It works out really well that we know each other's personality as well, because I am more like her husband. She is more like my husband. So we're used to the same give and take routine, which really makes it's not a routine, but it is a routine, and that's how we live. But I think if I said anything as we close, it would be to encourage people to understand themselves and those around them. We like to say a little personality knowledge goes a long way. And that is so true. You don't have to become an expert in it to have it be beneficial for your family, for your life, for your relationships. So that's what I would encourage people to do.
I like
And
that,
Goldie,
Rose.
one last thing to sum it up for us.
Sure. It would be, it's really never too early or too late to discover who you are by God's design. And when you realize and start, it's not a label, it is an understanding, but when you understand that how you are is exactly how you're supposed to be, it is, it's freedom and it's fabulous. So I just encourage you that way.
Well, thank you, gals. This has been wonderful. Feel we have all been blessed with you being here today. And gals, just be sure to make comments here in the comment section. Let us know what you think of this video. We would love to hear what you think. And as we're going through, maybe you've heard your personality being described today. And if you know it, whether you're an organizer, a mobilizer, a socializer, a stabilizer, go ahead and share it with us, just because it's fun to start to recognize who we are. So this is Joyce Zook, the Practical Christian Woman, helping you love your life and love your marriage. God bless you.